Well, hello. My name's Mandy from Mandy Sorts It Out. And this video is inspired by Sharon at Living a Thrifty Lifestyle. She commented on one of my videos when I was talking about making bread, saying she found it really scary. And before I started making it, I found it pretty scary as well. That's why, at the age of 61, I've only just started making bread. I've often been thinking about it. And I just thought maybe other people feel like that as well. So to demystify making bread, I thought I will video myself making bread, show you the whole process, and you can see it's relatively straightforward and not that time consuming. One thing I will say though is this is my fourth loaf. I am by no means a master bread maker. I'm not even a proficient bread maker. I'm very much a starting bread maker, finding my feet in bread making. However, that doesn't take away from showing you what I do and showing you that it's not that difficult. And also, in a way, it's probably going to be more helpful for you if you're thinking about starting, seeing someone else who's starting. So that's what I did. I videoed myself making a loaf, and I'll show that to you now. Well, hello. I'm going to show you how to make bread. Now, it's 5 o'clock. So I thought if we start at 5 o'clock, it'll give us a good idea of how long this actually takes. I have got a third 500 grams of bread flour here left from a 1.5 kilogram pack, which has a recipe on the side. I'm going to follow the recipe more or less exactly. Slight addition in that I'm going to put some milled flaxseed into the bread mix because I want to eat more milled flaxseed, and I don't taste it in bread, but I really do taste it in porridge, and I don't like it. So we're going to make some bread so you can see what we're doing here. I just need to go get a clock. So yeah, I got the clock because I need to knead this bread for 10 minutes, and I need to know that it's 10 minutes. So I've got 2 bowls here. I'm going to use the bigger bowl. I've got my loaf tin, and I've got a glass jug. A glass because I'm going to put hot water in it. Move a few things out of the way for the kneading process. And I'm going to get a little bit of white flour out just to use to knead. So the recipe is 500 grams of wholemeal bread flour. Now it says here 15 grams of salted butter. I use unsalted. 10 grams of salt. I don't put anything like that in. 7 grams of dried yeast. I've got these dried yeast sachets. They are 7 grams. These are from Lidl as well. 5 grams of sugar, which is about a teaspoonful, and 310 mils of water. So let's put that together. Just to say, I have cleaned all the surfaces before this so that it's clean to do the kneading on. I want the water to be warm, so I'm just going to boil the kettle slightly to get it warm. I found it wasn't enough water when I did it the first time, so I put a little bit of extra water in, and I put the linseed in the water to try and soften it a little bit. Now I'm going to rub that butter into the flour. It doesn't say to do that, but I'm not really sure how else to mix it, so I'm going to rub it into the flour, then add the water and start kneading the bread. It always looks like there's not enough water at first, but we'll see how we get along. Right, about 10 minutes and I now have a dough. So now I've got to knead the dough for another 10 minutes. Right, it's now 5:20. According to the recipe, I'm now done. What I need to do is shape the loaf, put it on a baking tray and cook it. I'll put it in a loaf pan. And that's what I've done the last 2 times I've cooked this wholemeal recipe. But I'm doing what I did with the white loaf, which was based on the recipe on the back of the white loaf that I made initially. And I'm going to give it a second rise because I found that it's quite dense, and I think it needs a second rise. But you don't have to, and I just thought with my first attempt I'd just try it as the recipe said. So at this point I baked it. Or oh, surely the recipe doesn't say that. Oh yeah, place it on a baking tray, leave it to rise until it's doubled in size and then bake it. So you don't have to do anything else. But I'm going to leave it to rise, and then I'm going to punch it down, and then I'm going to leave it to rise again, and then I'm going to cook it. So I've just put it in the oven with the oven light on. That'll give it enough warmth in there to just help it rise. And I'm going to have a bit of a wash up. So I shall come back in an hour, I think. So about 6:30, and I'll have a look at it and see how it's doing then. I could end up eating this quite late at night, but that's fine with me. So we'll come back later. Okay, it's been an hour and a quarter. I got into a puzzle. Bread looks like it's risen very well. I'll just get it out. And it needs knocking down, which basically is to knock all the air out of it. I'll put it here so you can see. It's a lot squidgier now, a lot softer, and yeah, I just need to get it into a sort of rectangle and then sort of roll both ends towards the middle, and I'll put it in the baking tray and get the oven up to temperature. Actually, no, it's not being baked. That was how I did it before. One rise and then straight into the oven. This is going back into the oven with the light on and leave it for another hour and see how it rises. But all the hard work's done now, really. It's just a case of letting it do its thing. Ten to 8, and that's risen beautifully. So now it's just a matter of putting the oven up to temperature, because it's just got the light on it. It isn't actually heated up.
So yeah, I'll give it 10 minutes to get to temperature and then bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. I mean, it's a big loaf, it's one big loaf, so hopefully 30 minutes will do it. And then I'll show you the loaf when it's cooked. But as you can see, apart from the kneading bit, the mixing bit for 10 minutes and the kneading bit for 10 minutes, I didn't really have to do much. I mean, squishing it down was just nothing from the first tries.
In the oven with it. Minutes.
So I didn't quite cook it for 25 minutes because I came out and I could smell burning. I came out to have a little look at it and thought, and as you can see, it's slightly burned on the top. I'm not too bothered about that. I'll just get a tray. I don't know, they say knock it on the bottom, if it sounds hollow it's done. I'm not sure if it sounds hollow. The other ones did, but they were very dense. This feels much more bouncy than the other ones. I think the second proving helped. And yes, I know, I should have a carving knife, but I don't. I have this serrated knife. It'll do. Still quite dense looking. Not as dense, perhaps. I'll let you know after it's cooled and I've tried some. It's much nicer than the 55p photograph. I hope I've shown you that it doesn't actually take that long to make a loaf of bread. 20 minutes, I'd say 20 minutes, 10 minutes mixing, 10 minutes kneading. Other than that, you're just coming in the oven, you're coming in the kitchen to check on it, punch it down. How long did that take? I don't know, seconds. And then cooking it when you're not even in the room. So, yeah, it doesn't take that long. And it's not that hard. So, if you fancy giving this a go as your New Year's resolution, give it a go. Okay, take care. Bye.
So I have made toast with the bread. Okay, so you saw me make my 4th ever loaf with a slightly burnt top. I didn't taste it at all when I was eating the bread. It was only the top, really top thin layer of the crust, so didn't taste it at all, and it wasn't at all a bother. I want to improve the bread that I make, and I think the next step for me is to let it rise a bit longer for the second rise. I think the first rise was probably okay. The second rise needed a bit longer. Now I've just bought more flour, more wholemeal flour, because I like making wholemeal bread. However, I do have 2/3 of a packet of white bread flour. So what I'm going to do is make some loaves of 50 white and 50 wholemeal. The white bread seems to rise an awful lot better than the brown, the wholemeal bread does. So I'm going to do those 2 loaves and eat those 2 loaves, and I've got some various things to add to them to improve the flavour because I don't like white bread, as I've told you before. I've bought some sunflower seeds today, and I've got some linseeds that I can add in as well to give it a bit of texture. And I'm going to do that to use up the white bread flour. Then I'll go back to the wholemeal flour, I believe, unless I absolutely fall in love with the 50-50. I will go back to the wholemeal flour, and I will next time let it rise for an awful lot longer before I cook it in the second rise and see if that makes a difference. I want to be able to get to a point where I can make a loaf that is similar to the loaf of bread I buy from the supermarket in size, because at the moment my loaves are a little bit more dense than supermarket loaves, which means that I'm eating more calories per slice of bread. I'd like to have as many slices out of my loaf of bread as there is out of a supermarket loaf of bread. And at the moment, that's not what's happening. There's much less bread. I get through my bread quicker. So I want to make it last longer. So I want it to be bigger. So that's my ambition when it comes to making bread. Anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.